liabilities minus total preferred stock, then we divided by number of shares. And if the proceeds remaining after paying all liabilities, right, we pay all liabilities, were divided among common stock holders. Okay, so we divide it. Don't forget, you have to minus with preferred stock first. Okay, preferred stocks. Okay, if you want to pay to common stock holders, right? Okay, so you have to minus with preferred stock. So in this question, you look at the example here. Okay, another point here, this method lacks sophistication and its reliance on the historical balance sheet. So we use the balance sheet. Okay, data ignores the firm's earning potential and lack of true relationship to firm value in the marketplace. So basically, there are some disadvantages using the net tangible asset because it's based on historical data. Okay, based on book value, right? Based on book value. Okay, for example, one example here, if you buy a car, okay, and you depreciate it 20% per year, how much is the car value at the end of 5 years if we have no scrap value? 20% per year. Okay, the price of the car is 100,000. 20% per year. After 5 years, how much is the value? 0, right? So if you look at that value, is it reflect the true value? Does it reflect the true value? No, because it is actually based on book value. Okay, so that's why the disadvantages of this net tangible asset is that it's based on book value or historical value. It does not reflect on the market value. Okay, just imagine if you buy a car, does the car actually worth 0? Actually, it has some values right in the market. Okay, so that's why using this one, it does not reflect the true relationship of the market value. Okay, but it's simple. You just take from the balance sheet. Okay, now you look at the example before we start here. On page 333. Okay, at the year end 2003, Lama company balance sheet shows total asset of 6 million, total liabilities. Okay, including preferred stock. So it means that the 6 million has already included preferred stock. Okay, so and then okay, the total liability is 4.5 million. Sorry, 4.5 million. 6 million is the total asset. So and then 100,000 shares of common stock outstanding. So how are you going to get that figure? 6 million minus with 4.5 divided by 100 shares. 100,000 shares, you get 50 ringgit per share. Okay, now let's see another method, which is the liquidation value, or we can call it the market value. Okay, market value. So in this case, okay, the liquidation value per share is the actual amount per share of common stock to be received if all of the firm assets were sold for the market value. Okay, instead of using historical value or the balance sheet value, we use the market value. For example, the car which we have bought 100,000 5 years ago, it might worth 20,000 in this year, 5 years after we have bought it, right? It might worth 20,000 and the market value is 20,000. So we use that 20,000 instead of 0. Okay, we use the 20,000 instead of 0 value after we have depreciated it year by year, 5 years. So basically, we use the market value and liabilities after we have paid liabilities, and any remaining funds were divided among common stockholders. So its formula is the same as NTA formula, except that we use market value instead of book value. So we look at the example, Lama company also found upon investigation that it could obtain only 5.25 million. Okay, if it sold asset today, and instead of 6 million, only 5.25. So it does not take the 6 million value. It takes 5.25. Okay. Then minus with the total liabilities and preferred stock of 4.5 million. Normally total liabilities, the value is, if we loan 5 million, okay, the value is still 5 million, okay. except the asset. Asset might be increasing or decreasing, okay, in asset. Okay, so the market value depends on the assets. So basically you get 7 ringgit and 50 cents per share after you have used the liquidation value. This reflects the true value of the share instead of using the net tangible asset or the book value, because it uses the market value. Okay, it uses the market value. So normally people will use this liquidation value when we want to liquidate the company or to wind up the company. Okay, lelong the company, then we use the liquidation value. Okay. Alright, now the next one is the price earning ratio. Right, valuation using the price earning ratio. Okay, we have learned the price earning ratio in chapter 2. Okay, that's chapter 2 when we learn about financial ratios. Okay, the formula for price earning ratio is cannot remember. Cannot remember. What is formula for price earning ratio? We have something with EPS and also with the price of the market price. So market price you divide it by earning per share. There you can remember, right? Okay, market price you divide by earning per share. Okay, don't worry. You still have time. You still have how many weeks? 5 more weeks. 3 or 4 more weeks. Until the final exam, right? So, okay. Time goes very fast, right? Right? Time goes very fast. And suddenly we are at the end of the semester already, right? Orang kita ni main final dulu. Tips during the class. It's being recorded, you know. Okay, it is partial comprehensive. Okay, partial comprehensive means that I might be taking all the, or covering all the chapters, but giving you the opportunities to choose the chapters that you are master. You master at, right? So maybe you want to choose this chapter instead of that chapter. Okay, you just okay. But which chapter I don't want to mention. Okay, so you have to learn everything. Just simple one. Okay, now, okay, valuation using PE ratio. So basically we have, you know how to calculate your PE ratio. Market price divided by earning per share. So if you look at this, some stock pay no dividend. So that's why we use this PE ratio. And because some stocks did not pay dividend. So using the PE ratio are one way to evaluate a stock under these circumstances. So the model may be written as P equal to M multiplied with earning per share. What is M? What is EPS? So market. Okay, where M is the estimate PE multiple. Okay, estimated PE multiple. EPS is earning per share. Now let's see, for example, if the estimated PE is 15, okay, and a stock earning of 5 ringgit per share, so EPS 5 ringgit per share, the estimated value of the stock would be P equal to 15 multiplied with 5, you got 75 ringgit per share. So how are you going to calculate the estimated price earning? PE. Normally what the practitioner do is that they go and they find all the price earning ratio of the companies, of the stock. Okay? Then they average the price earning ratio. Okay? So for example, we look at this, we look at all the price earning ratio here. and then we average it to find and just an estimated price earning ratio, an average estimate price earning ratio. Then what we call we get 15, for example. Okay, after we have averaged the PE ratio here. Look at here, PE ratio. Okay, for NTEC 29.3. Okay, for Fiamma, SLG 18.2, Genting 50, 14.4. So you average all the price earning ratio to get your estimated price earning ratio. Then you multiply with the earning per share. Then you get the price of the stock. Okay, that is one way of how you could get the price of the stock. Okay, weaknesses of using PE ratio, determining the appropriate PE ratio. Okay, one of the weaknesses. Okay, because we want, how are we going to determine the PE ratio? Okay, so sometimes we want, if we average it out, this doesn't mean that the PE ratio of the companies will be the same. Okay, because we are just estimating an average PE ratio. And then also we look at the possible solution. We use the industry average PE ratio. So we use the industry PE ratio. And another weaknesses is to determine the appropriate definition of earnings. Your definition of earning per share. Okay, right? Definition of earning per share. Okay, possible solution, adjust EPS for extraordinary items, right? And the third one, determining estimated future earnings. Okay, forecasting future earnings is extremely difficult. So these are some of the weaknesses of using PE ratios. Okay, the last topic for this chapter is decision making and common stock value. Now we look at the valuation equation, measure the stock value at a point in time based on the expected return and risk. Okay, so we look at our equation. Normally it will be based on expected return and also the risk of the stock. So the decision action by the financial manager, okay, will affect on the expected return, okay, which is measured by the expected dividend. Okay, that is expected return, right? Okay, D1, D2, okay, until and expected dividend growth, or G. And also risk measured by the required return. So there are two factors here. Okay, one is the expected return, the other one is risk. Risk is from required return. Expected return is from the dividend or expected dividend, right? So these two elements will affect the price of the stock, right? Or the stock value. Okay. So this is our expected return, right? P1. This is our risk, KS. This is our expected return, G. Okay. So basically there are two elements here, risk and return. Okay. Risk and return. These risk and return are interrelated. Okay, expected return and risk. So, any decision of financial manager that affect this variable can cause the value of the firm to change as shown in the figure below. So basically, any decision will affect the price. Okay. Right? So any decision made will affect the price. Okay? Now you look at this. This is not in your textbook. Okay? Changes in dividends or dividend growth. Right? Now you look at the decision of the financial managers. Let's say the financial managers say that the dividend, okay, the board of directors say dividend increase, the growth of dividend increase from year to year, from 3% to 6 on to 9%. Okay. You look at the dividend paid, right? From D0, 2 ringgit, and then increases to 250 to 3 ringgit. Okay. So as the dividend increase, okay, the growth is constant. you can see that the price of the stock will also increase. This is the value of the stock. 3%, 3%, 3% is the same. Okay, the difference is this. Okay, this is the difference from 2 to 2.06, 2.5 to 2.58, 3 to 3.09. So the higher dividend you are paying, okay, right? The higher value of the stock. Okay, higher dividend, higher value. And then you look at this, okay, we have the same dividend, D0, okay, but the growth rate is different. The growth rate are different, 3%, 6%, and 9%. Okay, so your D1 will be also different. And then if you look at the price also, the higher the growth rate, the higher the value. So basically here, higher dividend, higher growth rate, higher value, higher value of the stock. Okay, right? Higher dividend, higher growth, higher value. Now let's see risk and required return. Okay, the risk and required return. Changes in the expected dividend or dividend growth can have a profound effect on the value of the stock. So, expected dividend is your required return, risk is the KS, yeah, required return. Okay, now let's see our dividend is the same, D0. Okay, growth also the same, constant 3%. Okay, but our risk, required return increase from 5% to 10%. When the risk increase, okay, the required return increase, the price of the stock will decline. Okay, value of the stock will decline. Higher risk, low value of stock. Okay, higher risk, low value of stock. Look at this part. D0 is the same, growth rate also the same, okay, but the risk factor here increases. 12.5 to 15 to 17. We look here, okay, the value of the stock decreases also, right? Sama lah macam sebelah sama. Okay, keep on decreasing, from 100 ringgit per share to 14 ringgit per share. Okay, higher risk, low value. Okay, now the third one, changes in the expected dividends or dividend growth. Okay, you look at changes in dividend and required return. Now, dividend increase from 2 to 3 ringgit. And then also our risk also increase. Okay? And our growth also increase. What happened to our stock value? Okay? Look at it until here. 103 increase to 176, increase to 327. Okay? Now look at this. This one also increase. Okay? Okay, the dividend increase to 2.5 to 3. Okay, the growth also increase, and also the return and the risk also. This one risk is increasing. So 21 ringgit, 29 ringgit, and 30 ringgit. So basically, you look at this. When the dividend increase, the growth also increase. Okay. But when the return increase, the value will also increase because of the proportion of increase in the expected return is higher than the proportion of increase in the risk. Okay, the expected return is higher than the risk. Okay. We'll finish with this chapter. Okay. For next week, for this week, we will be having a class exam during your tutorial class. Okay, so please be prepared. Chapter 4 and 6, time value of money and also bond valuation. Okay, will consist of 5% from your final exam, from your total marks. Okay, so currently you are bringing 20%. This week we will be getting another 5%. So total will be 25% at the end of this week. Okay, so we can see your progress as we continue on until the end of the semester. Okay, with that, I thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Good evening.
But if compounded semi-annually or quarterly or monthly, then you have to have another adjustment.